This conference will now be recorded.
Great. So hi everyone. Welcome to this second session on sentence correction. We will have alternate sessions on theory and practicing questions. And we'll start off. Today we'll be discussing 10 to 12 questions which I had shared with you in the group earlier. And let's start off then. Shoot your answers for question number one. Question number one, you have to correct the underlined part. Okay, so I see that most of you are answering either A or B. That means we all are clear that C cannot be the answer. And we all know that certain correction is definitely required in this particular underlined part. Now the correct answer for this question is option number B. B is the correct answer. Let's try to understand that why is A not the correct answer. Let's read the sentence. Though all competitive exams do not allow using a calculator, but where they are permitted, there are restrictions on the models allowed. Option A says, though all competitive exams do not allow using calculator. And the second option says, not all competitive exams allow the use of a calculator. Now tell me the comma but part, which is not underlined. It is used for what object? Is it used for exams or is it used for calculator? Calculator, right? Now do we all understand that if we are writing a sentence and the moment we use the word but, that means I am going to say something contradictory to the part which was mentioned before but basically tells me, acts as an indicator that whatever is written before but I am going to put up something which is, say, not in sync or say contradictory or say not in sync with the thought mentioned before but. We all agree with this? Now if my but is going to change this, we also know that the word though, though, the word though, it is also used in the same way I use the word but. If I have written though, then I should not have had comma but, because then they are contradicting, because they both are serving the same purpose. Either it should have been, though all competitive exams do not allow using a calculator, where they are permitted, there are restrictions on the models allowed. Word but should not have been there if I had to continue using though, because both of them, they are used in the same way to convey the contradictory messaging. Now because my word comma but is not underlined, I have to remove the word though. Are we all understanding? Yes, the answer is B. So all of us who answered A, are we getting that why are we not using the word though over here? And also another clue which is also important for you to understand or to verify whether you are using the correct option or not, whether you are marking the correct option or not. Don't just change the tense of the underlined part. If you see option number A, it is only changing the tense of the object. changing tense of an object, or in fact it's not even changing the tense, it's just changing the count. It's changing it from singular to plural, right? It's only changing the count. Remember that changing the count of an object as the only thing in the part of your correction is not correct. It will be wrong 9 out of 10 times, or in fact 99 out of 100 times that would be wrong. Khyati, we are just discussing question number 1, and we are discussing that the correct answer is option number B. The correct answer is not option number A, is what we are discussing. Okay, now couple of things I would like to share here. Now see, as a thumb rule, remember that just changing the count of an object will be wrong 99 out of 100 times. If you have to change the count or you have to change the tense, it has to be for the verb. That is where the mistake would be given in the question. Subject verb agreement, that is where the mistake would be given. Just changing the count of an object will not be the right approach 99 out of 100 times. Now I guess someone asked that we are using they, and then we are using calculator, right? Now see, you have to, there are two ways to look at. First is, what's my best possible option from the given options? The best possible option is option number B. Now if there was another option which would have said not all competitive exams allow the use of calculators, then I could have marked that. But A, C and D, none of them can be my correct answer because definitely correction is required. Now when I am using a demonstrative pronoun, the word they, if I am writing a sentence calculator and exams, I can always say that the word they as a demonstrative pronoun may go with models of a calculator as well, and hence I cannot be very stringent that I would only use they when calculator is in plural. I can use they as a demonstrative pronoun for a singular noun as well. There is no such rule in grammar which says that demonstrative pronoun can only be used for a plural noun. Demonstrative pronoun can also be used for a singular noun. And hence, my option number B is not grammatically incorrect. It is not grammatically incorrect. However, if I had the option which said not all competitive exams allow using calculators, I could have gone for that option. But in the current scenario, I would go with option number B. But even B is not grammatically incorrect because there is no rule which says that my demonstrative pronoun they can only be linked to a plural noun. It can also be linked to a singular noun. Is it clear? Is it clear that why are we not using though? Shraddha, Khyati, Gursimran, Atul, perfect. Moving to question number 2. What is the answer you are getting for question number 2? I am seeing competition between A, B, and C. Let's analyze it. Denouncing it as anti-democratic. This means I am talking about something which is getting denounced. Now, there is something which we will study in the theoretical classes as well. The object to which my clause is referring. So I basically call the first part of the sentence as a clause, where I say denouncing it as anti-democratic, where I don't know what is it. I don't know what is it. And I also don't know who denounced. Denouncing it as anti-democratic, the lobbying act was slammed by critics. Here is in this part, the lobbying act was slammed by critics. Do I get to know who denounced? Do I get to know who denounced? My clause denouncing it as anti-democratic should have, after the word comma, the object to which it is referring to. That who denounced it. Denouncing is an action verb, right? It's an action verb. There has to be a doer of an action verb. Who is my doer? Doer is critics, correct? But if my doer is critics, it should come immediately after comma, because if I read it in the correct format, the lobbying act becomes the doer, but doer is not lobbying act, doer is critics. Do we understand? That because denouncing is an action word, I need a doer of this action word after comma, and that's where I need critics to be placed after comma. Is this part clear? Now comes that what to select between B and C. Did critics impose draconian limits, or lobbying act imposed draconian limits? Who imposed draconian limits? Critics or lobbying act? If I read B and C, doesn't option number B tells me that critics impose draconian limits, and it is option C which tells me that lobbying act imposed draconian limits. Am I correct? And that is why I would select C over B. Remember, whenever you have a sentence which is starting with an action verb or an action word or a verb, after comma you will definitely require to have the doer of that action word. This is first learning from this question. And then it was more about checking between B and C. I could have easily eliminated option number A. Between B and C, I had to understand that which of the two is talking correctly about the draconian limits. Now, at times, what people get confused is they would see denouncing, okay, ending with ing, imposing, ending with ing. Let's go with this because this is a rule of parallelism. We will go with ing, and they will mark B. But that's not the correct approach always, because parallelism also comes up with certain conditions. This sentence was not about the concept of parallelism, but this was more about understanding where is the word impose coming from. Is the lobbying act imposing it, or the critics imposing it? And hence, if any one of you marked option number C, option number B, because you matched ing of denouncing and imposing, this is the reason why it's not correct. Did some of you mark B because of this ing thing? Okay, so Harshit, now you get it. So Anushka just sent the message. Okay, I'll repeat the imposing part. Now, Anushka, if I compare option number B and option number C, the only difference is who imposed the draconian limit. Option B says critics imposed draconian limits. Option C says lobbying act imposed draconian limits. So who imposed draconian limits, Anushka? Critics or the lobbying act? It is the lobbying act which imposed draconian limits. Exactly. And that is why I will eliminate option number B and will go ahead with option number C. Is it clear, Anushka? Is it clear, everyone? We can move ahead. Great. Moving to question number 3. What is the answer you all are getting? Okay, so I see confusion between option number B and okay, so we can eliminate option A and D. I'll focus on B and C. Now in question number 1, we discussed that though and but cannot come together. Though and but cannot come together. This is a rule because both of them refer to the same context. Similarly, this particular sentence has 3 errors. It has 3 errors. First, it is using the word while along with but. Just like though, while also cannot come with but because both of them are usually used in the same context. Have you all observed this while speaking as well? That if I am using while in the start of the sentence, I will usually come up with a contradictory thought after the first part of my sentence. And that would not have but, it would always have the other contrast of it. And but also serves the same purpose. So while and but cannot come together. I will eliminate options which have but in it. I have eliminated A and C. I am now left with B and D. Second very minor mistake. But elsewhere in the world, it's more that. Should it be it's, which is a demonstrative pronoun, or should it be it's with apostrophe s? It should be apostrophe s, correct? Right. Anupriya, PS, Harshit, Atul, it should be apostrophe s. Also, when you are comparing, do you use this then or do you use THAN? Is it THAN or is it THEN? What should be here when I am comparing two things? Exactly. This sentence is a comparison. I cannot use THEN. I should have used THAN. So my correct answer is option number B. Is it clear now? All the 3 errors in this question, is it clear? Parinay, the first it's which you have written is a demonstrative pronoun. It's a pronoun. The second one with apostrophe, it is. It's a short form to write it is. That's the difference between the two. One is a demonstrative pronoun which requires to have a noun. Other is an affirmative word which I just use for it is. Option number C starts with but. And while and but cannot go together, just like though and but cannot go together. Moving to question number 4. What is the answer you all are getting for question number 4? Question number 4. The correct answer is option number A. Option number A is the correct answer. Air quality indices rarely take long-term risk into account. Option number A is the correct answer. Let's discuss it. The word they, after the comma, the word they, it refers to the long-term risk. And my noun to which my demonstrative pronoun refers to should be at the nearest possible place to my demonstrative pronoun. In this case, the long-term risk should be nearer to the comma. Because if I will put indices closer to comma, I could say that this they could be referring to indices. But they refers to long-term risk. They does not refer to indices. Do we all agree with this much? Pratham, we will in the next session we will be talking about pronouns, the theoretical session. There is an entire session on pronouns, so it cannot be covered right now. It would be covered in the next session, right? So we agree that they refers to long-term risk. They does not refer to indices. And if I put indices nearer to the comma, it would mean that indices is and they are connected. What would vary? What would vary from place to place? It is obviously going to be the risk. It cannot be the indices. Indices are nothing but parameters. The definition of parameters, it's going to remain same. Whatever values of indices I get, they define my risk, and my risk varies from place to place. For example, if I measure pollution, the risk of breathing in that air would change from place to place. But I cannot say that my pollution indices change from city to city. They are same. Kushi, that's where you reading the sentence and understanding it well would come into the picture. More and more you practice, you will be able to identify these things. And all the questions in these sets, they are the values of those indices. They are not indices. And these values define my risk. Are you getting it, Harshit? Khushi, are you able to understand? Now between A and B, now tell me between A and B, which sentence is, which one is incorrect? Incorrect is option number B. Why? And A is correct. A is correct and B is incorrect. The reason is, can I say the two parts of the sentence, the underlined part and the non-underlined part, they are independent clauses? Can I say this? They are two independent sentences if I read them separately. They have, when I say independent clause, I basically mean a part of a sentence which will hold a meaning if I just read it as is. So for example, if I just read the part after the comma, it would make some meaning. If I read the part before comma, it would make some meaning. So they are independent clauses. Can I say this? Do we all agree with this, that these two parts are independent clauses because of the definition of an independent clause which I told you? Now, whenever two independent clauses, this is a rule, whenever two independent clauses are put together in a single sentence, I need to connect those two independent clauses by a connector. This connector could be a semicolon, it could be the word and, it could be while, it could be but, it could be because, it could be anything, but there has to be a connector. Comma is not considered as a connector. Semicolon is considered as a connector. And that is why in this question I eliminate option number B and I go ahead with option number A as the correct answer. Because option number A gives me the connector to connect two independent clauses. Option number B does not give me that. That's the reason we are not going for B. Is it clear now? Everyone? Shraddha, Rishika, Anupriya, Atul? Okay. Moving ahead, question number 5. The correct answer is option number B. B is the correct answer for question number 5. B is the correct answer for question number 5. Why? The solution that he worked out. Can I say that the sentence person wants to convey that the solution was correct, but the solution was complicated, right? That if I have to break it into two parts, solution was correct, solution was complicated. Now, if I read option number C, is it not having the misplacement of the word only? Only is misplaced. That makes it incorrect. Was correct only but complicated? This is just like, I'm trying to translate how I speak in Hindi to English and trying to make it. So option number C is incorrect because of the placement of the word only. Option number A, similarly, I will not use the word only with not when I also have but after it, right? Because it's too much of negative words getting into it. When I can simply say was correct but complicated. That is the simplest and the most crisp way to communicate that the solution was correct, full stop, the solution was complicated, full stop. If you are given two sentences, the solution was correct, the solution was complicated. Okay, so Tushar, let's consider that the underline was under was also. That's a mistake from my side. Let's treat it as the question which had underline under was also. And even if it was not, my correct answer would be correct but complicated. Then if I remove the word was from A, B, and C, my answer remains correct but complicated. Even then, this needs the correction because not only correct but complicated is still define the objective of the sentence.
Hello, sir.
Mohit, can you mute and can you ask your query in the chat box?
Okay, sir.
Okay, is it clear everyone? Question number 5. Tushar, Anupriya, Anushka, Shama. Any doubt here? Anyone, any doubt? Okay, moving to question number 6. Question number 6, what is the answer you are getting? This is an interesting question. I'll explain you a few things. Mohit, I'll come back to question number 4 once we are done with all the questions now.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Coming to question number 6. Very interesting question. Why? This question is based on my understanding of the meaning of 4 words: place, room, space, seat. What is the meaning of place? What is the meaning of place? The word place. Can I say that place refers to a specific location or a part of space? It could be a part of space but is a specific location. Place is a part of space but is referring to a specific location. Correct? This is definition of place. What is room? Room refers to the part of space which is available to be occupied, which could be occupied. Part of the space which could be occupied. That is called room. Are we all on the same page? Room refers to the part of a space which can be occupied, a occupiable part of space. Place, the word place may or may not be occupiable. It refers to a specific location in the space. Room refers to the part of the space which could be occupied. What is seat? SEAT. Seat is a place to sit. Seat is a place to sit. What is space? Space is an unoccupied and a continuous area. Right? It's a continuous area which is unoccupied. Now just tell me, if I am talking about a compartment of a train or a compartment in any moving object, or usually it would be compartment of a train. Should I use the word place? Should I use the word room? Should I use the word space? Or should I use the word seat? Seat is not right. Seat is restricted to sitting. I could even be standing in the compartment. Seat becomes too specific. Space is unoccupiable. I cannot occupy it. I am left with place and room. Place, again, there is no guarantee that it is occupiable, but room, it is occupiable. I'd go with the word room. Sure, Vishnu, I'll repeat that. The correct answer is option number A. Option number A is the correct answer. The difference between space and place is, space is a continuous and unoccupied thing. It's everywhere. Space is everywhere. It's unoccupied and continuous. That is space. Space is everywhere. Place is the occupiable part of space. So basically place, room is the occupiable part of space. Room is the subset of space. Space is a superset. Space is continuous and unoccupiable. Room is occupiable and is the part of space. Is it clear? Is the difference clear now? Vishnu, Tanya? There was no place to be occupied in the compartment. That's why he moved to another compartment. Good, Simran, that's not in this context, because here we are talking about what word to put before compartment. Compartment is usually, it could be a room, the room of a house, or it could be the room of a train, the coach of a train. It could be anything. But I cannot say that I cannot put the word room, because compartment is room. I am not getting into the synonyms of compartment. You don't know if it's a train, it's a coach. I cannot say it's a room. Right? There is no significant difference between moved and shifted. That's why moved and shifted is not a reason for marking any option over here. The reason to mark an option over here is difference between place, room, space, and seat. Why not space? Space is unoccupiable. Even if he will go to the second compartment, space will remain unoccupiable. He can occupy room in another compartment. He cannot occupy space in another apartment. Because the moment the space can be occupied, it becomes room. Are you all getting it? You need to make the correction because the word place is wrong. Place is again referring to a specific part of a space, but it may or may not be occupiable. So if someone is moving from one compartment to the other because he could not occupy an area in that compartment, it has to be referring to a occupiable space. It cannot be referring to a place which could be occupiable or not. Is it clear now? I'll tell about the difference between shifted and moved. In this question, we did not require it as such though. So basically, there is a very minor difference between shift and move, and that is why in this question we did not require it. When I say shift and when I say move, I am actually comparing the magnitude of the displacement. How much do I need to move from one place to the other? How much do I need to shift from one place to the other? The magnitude of displacement is what I am talking about. Now, in the case of shift, I will use the word shift when that magnitude of displacement is small. I will use the word move when the magnitude of displacement is high. I would say shift from coach A1 of a train to coach A3 of a train. I would say move from Lucknow to Delhi. However, they moved may be used in place of shift, and no, at times, because most of us don't get into those technicalities. But if you ask me the technical difference between shift and move, it refers to the magnitude of the displacement. For a smaller magnitude, I would use the word shift. For the higher magnitude, I would use the word move. Is it clear? So correct answer for question number 6 was option number A. Question number 7. He moved from Punjab to Goa. See, again, I say don't do a sentence correction question based on how we all people in India converse with each other. At least 60 to 70% of the times, the normal conversations in India, they have a lot of grammatical mistakes which we overlook because that is something which has become the part of our social system, social conversations. But there are a lot of grammatical mistakes. So you move from Punjab to Goa, you don't shift from Punjab to Goa. You must have heard our parents or someone in the society saying, oh, they have left this house, they have now shifted from Punjab to Goa, or they have shifted from Lucknow to Delhi. No, the correct word would be move. The correct answer for question number 7, all of you are getting it correct. Option number C. C is the correct answer. C is the correct answer for question number 7. Whoever is chosen as a new chief. Okay, I see that Vishnu has answered B. Rest everyone has answered C. So let's discuss option number B once. Why is option number B incorrect? Who is going to tell me? And why is whomever wrong? So whomever and whoever. Whomever is used instead of whoever when I have to use it as a object for a verb. But when I have to use whoever as an object itself, I will use whoever only. But if I wanted whoever to act as a verb, I would change whoever to whomever. It's not about gender. Are you all getting it? What's the difference between whomever and whoever? When my whoever is used as an object itself, when I use whoever as an object itself, I would use the word whoever. But when I want whoever to act as the verb, I will use whomever. So whomever is a verb form of whoever. Whomever is the verb form of whoever. And in the given sentence, I want to use whoever as the object. I will sing whatever I like to whomever I like. Here, whomever is referring to sing. But if whoever was referring to I would use whoever. But here, whoever is referring to sing, and hence I changed whoever to whomever. I will sing whatever I like to whomever I like. Are you all getting it now? Whomsoever is just a different way to say whomever. So basically, if you talk about whomsoever, have you heard about the word whosoever? The relation between whoever and whomever is same as the relation between whosoever and whomsoever. We will get into pronouns and demonstrative pronouns in a dedicated session, but this should give you a fair idea how to remember the difference, because this is one of the commonly made mistakes. When to use whoever, when to use whomever, when to use whosoever, when to use whomsoever. Now you understand the difference between whoever and whomever. I will buy the property from whoever it from whoever owns it. That's when I will use whoever. I will buy the property from whoever owns it, because here I want it to act as an object only. Great. Moving to question number 9. Sorry, question number 8. Question number 8. Okay. Can I say that option number A and B are wrong, because I want the word whose only. I can't be using who is. Can I at least say this? Can I eliminate option A and B first? I will get whether C or D, but at least A or B I can remove. Okay. Now tell me, when I say X year contract, do I use the word years or do I use the word year? Because here that particular word is acting as a singular. Year, right? So what should be my correct answer for this question? Perfect. Correct answer is option number D. No correction required. No correction required. Question number 9. So Bhavya, what I said, that whenever we use the word X year with the word contract, it is always treated as a singular, because contract is singular. Now the number of years written before the unit year will not make it years. I never say 8 years contract. I always say 8 year contract. I don't say that Shah Rukh Khan bagged the deal from XYZ, as the part of X years contract. I say a 4 year contract or a 3 year contract or a 10 year contract. Do you get it, Varsha? Do you get it, Bhavya? Okay, moving to question number 9. This question is again talking about the difference between the meaning of two words first. Besides and beside. Besides and beside. When do I use beside? And when do I use the word besides? What is beside without S? Is it a preposition? Beside? Correct. Beside is next to. And besides is apart from or additional. In the context of the sentence, do I need the preposition beside or do I need the apart from word besides? What do I need in the context of the sentence? Now, the correct answer for question number 9 is option number B. Option number B is the correct answer. Okay. First, let's decide whether to use beside or whether to use besides. Why? Beside the point. It also refers to, if I have to use the word beside only, and I have to decide whether I should use the word beside or besides in this context, I would go for beside, because I'm not talking about in addition to, apart from, because if besides has to be used, there have to be two things. Apart from. Now if I say apart from this, that happened, the usage of the word besides require my this and that. Are you getting it? Because the word besides means apart from, in addition to. In addition to X, Y happened. Apart from X, Y happened. I need X and Y for the word besides. There is no X and Y in the given sentence, and hence I cannot use the word besides. Understood? That why are we not using the word besides? Sai, Bharat, Bhavya, Tanya. Okay. Now if I have to use the word beside and I compare A, C and D, D is definitely not the answer because besides I cannot use. I'll compare A and C. A and B. What would be my correct answer? Does the word is or are should go with point or the word rumors? Is beside or are beside? It will be in agreement with the word point or rumors. Because the word, the verb which I'm going to use with beside has to be in agreement with the word point. It does not need to be in agreement with the word rumors. Rumors had the word are. The first are, the rumors are true, the one before true, but the one with beside needs to be in sync with the point, and hence it has to be is. Question number 9, correct answer is option number B. Right, Bhavya, that's where you would use the word besides. Question number 10. Okay, so question number 10 has two things: whether I use was or were with the word I, and whether I use will or would. Let's first talk about was and were. Very fundamental rule of English grammar. I always use the word were with the word I. I will not use was. Were is always used with I, while we Indians speak and use the word I was. It's wrong. It's grammatically wrong. It's always I were. Now, when do I use will and when do I use would? I'll come to that sentence, Tanya. That's one of the exceptions I'll talk about. Let's first talk about will and would. When do I use will and when do I use would? Will is used for something which is certain to happen. Would is used for something which is just a possibility. Similarly, I will use was with I only with something which has happened in past and is definite. I was going to take bath. It's a definite thing. If I were the CM of India, if I were the CM of Delhi, has uncertainty. It's not a certain thing. If I were the captain of Indian cricket team, I was the captain of Indian cricket team. Is it clear? I was slash were, I will slash would. Is it clear? In the single sentence, I check the usage of two different words with the word I. Was slash were, will slash would. Exactly, Atul. For example, I was the captain of Indian cricket team if I were the captain of Indian cricket team. Perfect. Correct answer for question number 10 is option number C. Option number C is the correct answer. We'll get back to if anyone has any queries. Once we have moved ahead, let's first move to the undone questions first. When the condition is not fulfilled, you will use were. Okay, Anushka. Perfect. Question number 11. What is the answer you all are getting? Another thing where question number 11 judges you. What's the difference between criteria and criterion? What's the difference between criteria and criterion? Right. Criteria is plural, criterion is singular. Is my sentence referring to singular form of it, or is my sentence referring to plural form of it? Let's first eliminate the options. Singular. My question is referring to singular. So should I use the word criteria or criterion? I will use the word criterion. Now between B and C. Between B and C. Tell me everyone, between B and C. Okay, there is a mixed view. So we will discuss B and C. Actual evidence of misconduct may not be the most important criterion to determine whether a president gets impeached. The most important criterion in determining whether a president gets impeached, the most important criterion to determine if a president gets impeached, should it be to determine or should it be in determining? What's the difference between in and to? What's the difference between indeterminate and to determine? So the core difference, what is the meaning of the word impeached? What is the meaning of the word impeached? When I say indeterminate and when I say to determine, which of these two? Which of these two? Okay, let me come to this a step after. Can you tell me whether to decide to remove a president or not? Is it a dispute which has to be resolved by coming up with a decision which is very authoritative in nature, or it has to be decided by something which is based on a decision based on proofs or evidences? Based on evidences, correct? Because my first part of the sentence itself says based on evidences. The difference between indetermining and to determine, difference is not because of ing, so don't even think of that. The difference is in the usage of the word indetermining and to determine. We use the word to determine to resolve a dispute with an authoritative approach. We use the word indeterminate when I have to resolve a dispute based on evidences and facts and figures. And that's where I'm going to use indetermining over here and not to determine. To determine means I'm just going to tell you the result of the outcome of a dispute. Indetermining means I'm in the process to evaluate. Indetermining refers to the process in the process in progress, where I'll consider facts, I'll consider figures, I'll consider evidences, and in this question it's a process we are talking about. Correct? We all agree with this, that in the question we are talking about a process, something which is in progress. Because it's given in the question, actual evidence of misconduct, evidence of misconduct, that means evidences are being considered. The correct answer is option number B. Option number B is the correct answer. Last question, question number 12. I'll tell you a very easy way to solve this question, and you all will just smile after knowing what mistake you made. The correct answer is option number D. D for Delhi. Option number D is the correct answer. The criticism, the decision drew heavy criticism within the US and internationally, including in China or including China. When I say including China, I am referring to the country. When I'm saying within the US, I'm talking about within the boundaries of a country. So any other country I'm going to talk about, I'm going to refer it in the same way. So how can I use in for US but not in for China? Has to be including in China. Including China means I'm talking about a holistic country, but I have to talk about where did the criticism happen? It happened in China. Is it clear now? Great. Question number 12, option number D is the correct answer. But I believe today's exercise would have given you an idea that you need to study a lot of theory as well for sentence correction. We will be covering all the theories in the sentence correction sessions. So there is no need to worry, especially on the pronoun side and the subject verb agreement. Pronouns are very important. Prepositions are very important. Subject verb agreement is very important. Question number 8, the correct answer was option number D. So I guess question number 12 was on a lighter note where almost everyone just went with the flow of marking, including China, because 3 options had including China. Yes, Anushka, these questions are of moderate level. They are definitely not easy. All these questions are of moderate level. I would say moderate to difficult. 11th, option number B. Option number B. Molly, question number 11, option number B is the correct answer. Shraddha, 9 out of 12, good performance, I would say. Shelly, 6 out of 12, not bad. Shibashish, 8, good. 10, good. 9, good. Anything above 8 is good. 6 to 8, no need to worry, you are on the right track. 8 by 12 is a good one. 6, 7, no need to worry. You have a lot of time to prepare. And 6 is not a bad start. 6 or 7. Rushti, 11, pretty good. Great. So we'll end the session. We will meet again tomorrow in a GK session. Atul, okay, going back to question number 9. The difference. Why beside in question 9? Because I cannot use the word besides. Because besides means apart from, in addition to. That means in addition to X, Y happened. Apart from X, Y happened. If I use the word besides, I need both X and Y. My sentence does not have X and Y, it only has X. We will have the session, Meghna. It would be a mixed session on current affairs and static GK. Current affairs, something happening recently in June would be there. Static could be anything. Anushka, yes, the PDF and the recording of the session will be available to you. We'll be having the session tomorrow at 9 p.m. Great. So thank you, everyone. Good night. Recording and this PDF will be available shortly. Bhavya, I'm going to conduct it this week. I'll confirm to you, mostly either on Wednesday or on Thursday, I'll be conducting that session. No need to prepare anything for the session. Anupriya, come unprepared, enjoy the session, enjoy the quiz. I will tell you the sessions for which you need to come prepared, so don't worry. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Great to know, Arnab.